All right, we're on? We're on. All right. We are here September 10th, 2019, start of the Personnel Committee. Present is Alder Galvin, Alder Dorf, and sitting in to make a quorum is Alder Stoyer. And I don't see any other alders in the crowd. I'm looking for approval
Move
of
to approve the
agenda.
agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. The
to
agenda's
approve.
been approved.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That approves unanimously. We had Alder Dorf make a motion and seconded by Alder Stoyer. Okay, on to regular business. Consideration with possible action on a request to fill the following replacement positions and all subsequent vacancies resulting from internal transfers at Public Works for a truck driver and at park maintenance worker from Parks, Recreation, and Forestry. Staff?
You have the replacement, the position fill request forms in here. If you have any questions, we can answer them. If not,
Do we have any questions? No.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Alder Dorf, seconded by Alder Stoyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on to item number 2, consideration with possible action on a request by Alder Galvin to examine and determine salary and benefits for the Oak Learning Center at Wildlife Sanctuary to see if other funding sources can be used to get their pay and benefits closer to Green Bay Area Public School salaries and benefits. Committee may convene in closed session
Well,
pursuant to...
don't read it yet.
Right, I'm just saying.
We could, okay.
yeah. So what we'll have is Director Ditchite has the budget for the 4K school. He can go over it with you and pass the documents. And then for the negotiations with the school district, I think most of that discussion would be in open session. But if we feel like we have to in closed session, we can do that.
Okay.
But
I
think most
prefer
of it-
open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for standing.
All right, just
We'll just
for everyone's
suck it for a
benefit,
minute.
Alder Corpus Dax and Alder LeVay
Let
have just
them
arrived.
into their-
And Alder Stoyer is going to be leaving
Good fun.
and sitting back down in the crowd to heckle us.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm white.
Okay, Victoria and Kathy, we are on item 2, consideration with possible action on a request to examine and determine salary and benefits for the Oak Learning Center.
All right,
So
so,
give them just a minute, Dan.
yeah, that's
or
fine.
do you
I
guys-
guess they
You
need.
wanna listen?
You can listen? Okay. go
Okay,
ahead.
sounds good. Well, I just passed out a summary. It's a 2-page document showing 2 things, and I'll kind of review that with you. So the first page is kind of a summary of where we currently are at with our salaries for the teachers and naturalists, along with an assumed rate of $2,300 per student. So I'm just showing you what was approved last year and what our funding was so that we can compare it to, if we were to approve additional pay increases for the teachers and naturalists, you'd have a comparison. So assuming that there's 75 students, at $2,300 a student, which would be a reimbursement from the school district, the total revenue for the program would be $172,500. We currently pay the teachers $37,577, and per year, and there's 2 of them. And then we currently pay each naturalist $14.75, which comes out to a total of $45,076 for both naturalists. When you include the retirement, Social Security, and Medicare, that adds to the cost. And we currently do pay those for the employees, and that is required. And then we have certain miscellaneous expenses that we incur just operating the program. And these would be utilities, school supplies, copy machine, maintenance costs, and then janitor services to keep it clean. That equals a total of $22,000. So our expenses are $159,318. So last year, had we had 75 students, which we did not last year, we only had 58 students, but had we had 75, we would have seen an excess of revenue of $13,182. So now we're here to discuss.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who took on that shortfall?
Yeah, how
The
did we?
city took on the shortfall.
And what was the shortfall then?
I didn't
Oh,
calculate
you
it out,
didn't?
but ultimately
Okay.
we had 60 or 58 students at $2,300 each. I don't have a calculator on me.
Everyone does. You have a smartphone.
Exactly.
You don't.
Mine's
And
sitting
that would
over
have
there
been
though.
133,400.
Yep.
So we,
So that would mean that there would be a shortage of 133,000, so that's $26,000 we had a shortage of last year.
25,918.
Correct.
So the city covered that.
And the city covered
What was
that
the
last
amount?
year
Okay.
because we didn't have a full class load. So now if you go to the second page, what we're here to talk about is the school district. They approved on their end adding an additional $200 per student. And their desire was to use that salary increase for either paying additional benefits, which is health and dental, or to put it towards additional salary to make them more comparable to the school district employees of similar or equal positions. So what we show here is, so the revenue would be 75 students, at $2,500 apiece would give you a revenue of $187,500. Looking at the teachers, a comparable teacher position with the Green Bay School District at step one would be $41,486 per teacher. And then the naturalist can be compared to kind of
Paraprofessionals.
the paraprofessionals, which they get paid $18.53 per hour. So our expenses for salaries would go up to $139,600. So it's roughly an addition of $19,000 for that. In addition, Social Security, Medicare, that all goes up slightly also as part of this because the salaries went up, because it's a formula based on the salary. The miscellaneous expenses are the same, so that's not going to increase or decrease.
Well, with the addition of the new building, won't you need more supplies? Won't the custodians have to clean more?
There will probably be higher utility expenses, but not all of that can be attributed to the 4K.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have the upstairs rental.
Sure.
But the cleaning should be about the same, because it's still 2 classrooms. I mean, it's a little bit bigger space
Sure.
than the other one. We did not account for additional expenses for the new building in here. We feel that we can stay within our means for that budget. So when you take,
Can I ask you a
yes,
question? So they, the school district voted and basically to give us 15,000, and we're going up 19,000 just with salaries. Is that what you just said?
correct.
Okay,
yes.
so
Because
there's.
the 15,000 is based on $200 per student with 75 students. So that's 15,000 in addition to what they would have given us last year, if there was 75 students. Now, when you look at the budget summary on this sheet, you'll see that, last year, we would have had a $13,000 revenue. This year, if these pay raises are approved, we would have a $5,700 revenue. So we're not,
I see.
that
You're cutting that
amount goes
closer.
a little bit less.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, like I said, this is all based on how many students are enrolled. So currently, for this year, there are 74 students enrolled. So although this is budgeted at 75, which is going to match what our city budget shows, so when we bring our city budget forward in 2020, it's going to show a revenue for 75 students, because at the time, we didn't know how many kids, from year to year, we don't know how many kids there are going to be when we set that budget. So we wanted to stay consistent with what our budget is going to show. But just so you know, there's currently 74 students. So although it's showing a surplus of $5,700, you can deduct $2,500 off of that. And the head count happens next week. So if we have an additional child drop out or add in the next week, week and a half, that number is also going to change. So in essence, what you'll see from this is if we give the salary raises as proposed by the school district, it's pretty much breaking even at 73 students is where you're at.
Wait a minute, you said as proposed by the school district? I don't
And by
understand.
us, you know,
By us.
because what they wanted to do was give us the additional $200 to put towards salary increases.
Which is
to
what we
make it-
wanted.
Which is what we
for.
want.
We wanted it for.
Correct. So our proposal matches what the school district's desire is for that additional money. Now, the other thing I do want to point out is the notes at the bottom of these two pages. So the other line item that really the budgets aren't taken into account is really all of the other staff at the sanctuary. And right now, James Anderson, he actually is the site coordinator, because we don't have a superintendent right now. So James's time that he puts into the program, along with our full-time naturalists, not the teacher naturalists, the full-time naturalists, the time that they, you know, put into, you know, helping to run the program, bring in animals, do special events with the students, that's not taken account into this budget. So the city is putting more money into it than what you see in here with our existing full-time staff. You know, that doesn't even include the time I put into the program too. Also, like I mentioned before, the last bullet point says that, you know, this is based on 75 students, and this clarifies how many students were enrolled last year, how many are currently enrolled now, so.
Dan, I have a question.
Yes.
With the new building, you said, you know, that it was set up to the top floor to have groups that could rent it out.
Yes.
Because you got the utilities right here, does that include that,
The
that
ut-
new part, or is that for?
The
what we use?
utilities would be for the 4K portion. I mean, really, we don't have a good idea of what those utilities are going to be until we actually run for a year. So we'll amend the miscellaneous expenses a year from now, once we keep better track of it with the new building. So right now, we didn't change anything. We'll take a close eye, we'll keep a close eye on it, we'll track those expenses, so we'll be able to give you a better feel of what those actual expenses
I was
are
gonna say-
for a comparison.
Okay, I want to know okay, so then when, if a group rents that, then it's not gonna help the 4K?
No.
That's gonna go to the whole?
Correct, I mean, the
sanctuary.
4K, internally, we
Okay.
keep all the 4K budgeting kind of separate, but that's an internal document, yes.
Go ahead.
So would it be accurate to say that the school district is bringing in $5,724 per student, and they're sharing with us for the children's education $2,500, less than half of the money that they bring in for each student? Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay,
And then
thank you.
James's role as acting superintendent, is that gonna remain the same, or are we gonna look at this down the road and see how things work out?
In the budget for 2020, James is the site coordinator for the 4K program. That's going to be his job duties for 2020 also.
Okay, is he gonna get a raise then, because of these added extra duties, or is he gonna give up some of his other duties?
We can discuss that at budget time. I mean, his job duties are going to slightly change, and we're going to structure things a little bit differently, but we'll discuss that at budget time
Okay.
also.
Very good. And then, so we haven't, this raise that we're looking at, potential raise, as I understand today, I guess I had a big misunderstanding. I thought it had already been approved. It hasn't been approved yet.
It has not been approved. At the last meeting, we talked about the school district actually giving us more money, but we never took any action on
Okay.
actually giving the raises. So what we would propose here, if the committee's open to it, is to actually implement it as, you know, right after the council, but then back pay for the start of this school year.
Definitely.
Okay.
That's what we would propose.
All right, is there any other questions from committee? Any question from staff, or any other council members out there? Yes,
And we're
Mark?
still going to be able to talk
Well,
about
I'm sorry.
negotiation. I'm sorry.
Okay. Mark, do you have a question for Dan? Do you have a question for Dan?
Oh, for Dan. Alyssa, do you mind coming up? Do you have a question?
Just so we can hear you.
Yeah,
Looks like it's fine.
okay. Thank you, Chair. Hi, Dan. Actually, some of this has been clarified. It's been a little confusing, you know, over time, you know, some of these school district versus, you know, the city, and where we are with some of these things. But I guess the question I had is with the naturalist, you know, with this proposed change, they're talking about $18.53 an hour, correct?
Yes.
Okay. what kind of benefits are there?
Well, that's the one thing that is not on here is there are no, and this is same with the teachers, there is still no health care or dental, or health insurance or dental insurance included in this. If you wanted to actually give them health and dental insurance, it would be approximately another $69,000 added
That would
to
be for
this.
4 positions?
For 4 positions.
Okay. I guess that's one thing I'm looking at, and I know you are too.
Well, our concern, Mark, is that the citizens of Green Bay have been already taxed by the school district. And if they don't want to give us any more money, then it's going to be taxing the citizens of Green Bay again to give them benefits. And that's where I have an issue, is taxing them twice.
We asked the school district, would they please consider giving us enough money just for the benefits, since they receive the tax dollars from the citizens for the education of the children. And apparently, they're not going to do that. Is that accurate?
Not for this year, at least.
For this year, they're not going to. So do we double tax our citizens in the city of Green Bay?
Yeah, well, I guess, I'm looking at it from the standpoint, one of the standpoints, and I understand that makes sense, but, as far as moving forward and retaining folks, we've had an issue with people.
Absolutely.
And some people say, well, it's just a stepping stone, it's just, part of, people understand when they get into the position, but, with this new building and such, I think it's very important that we move forward with, that we've got great staff there, and, maybe staff that'll want to stay for a while, so we don't have turnover, et cetera.
Well, in my mind, it's the education of students is mainly in the wheelhouse of the Green Bay Area Public School District. So knowing, as they do, that consistency of staff positions leads to a better education for children, I hope that we will just be asking them again, please give us the funds to do this.
I think what we have here is we have a stepping stone. Little by little, the bird builds its nest. And we've taken, I think, a big step here. This is a significant raise for all 4 positions. Granted, it's not like working for the Green Bay Public Schools, but again, this is a city job. It is not part of the Green Bay Public School District, and that's, sometimes people have to remember there's 2 separate entities here.
Yeah, and I think that's what's been confusing,
Right.
even for us supposedly in the know.
Right.
I mean, it's a little
And
difficult.
we've got
at
other
times.
things. You've got the SRO officers whose salaries and benefits are paid by the school district, but they're employees of the city, answering to the chief of police. So I think moving forward, we have been in discussions with the school. I think those are going to continue. And what I'm hoping is that in the future, we'll be able to add more and better benefits or salary to these positions.
I think one other thing too, and Dan, you mentioned, 75, where we have 74 students now. And I realize every year you're thinking, okay, we're hoping for this number, and so does that kind of hold us hostage a little bit, if we don't have enough students coming in to the program?
Well, you see the hit, the city took a
Because,
$25,000
right.
hit last year.
So right
we're
now-
willing to absorb that.
But right now we're at 74, and what are we looking at moving forward as far as a good number of students?
I think there's a maximum.
There's a maximum of
80.
80, so right now for budgetary purposes, I think 75 is a good number to shoot for. Over time, we can adjust that if we need to, if we find enrollment numbers are going up or down.
And you feel at this time that the enrollment numbers will stay up because of the new building and other things?
There's been a waiting
Yeah.
list
So-
every year.
Yeah,
Last year, the only reason I believe that it didn't fill, the decision was made rather late in August, is that correct?
yeah, it was fairly last
Fairly
minute,
late.
about a month
Mhm.
before
And
school
people had
started.
already,
Committed.
your child is
Right.
going here,
They're
their
not gonna-
child was
right,
used to
because
the
But you
Yeah.
need time, you need time for that, I understand.
Right, so
Well, I'm emboldened by this, I'm glad I had a chance to look at this, because I had questions, and it just seemed like, there was this and that and the other thing out there, and just trying to come up with some kind of a semblance of order here.
Well, there's been a lot of changes in staff, and James is a supervisor now, the new building. I think there's been some complaints that have been listened to by City
there-
Hall, and I think there's been some changes made to that end.
I'm gonna focus just with the school right now, I know there's other issues in
Well,
that
and
too.
that's exactly
That's
what I'm
what I'm
referring to, is it
So I'm
all
not gonna
refers
talk
to the
about
school.
that.
So I think there's been some good changes, and I'm hoping we can take a look at this school year as it evolves and see that this has been good, and Again, like I said, they'll keep moving forward to try and create a better atmosphere financially for the four individuals we hire.
I think that's a good first step. I mean, not first step, but a good
Well, it is a
step.
good first step.
Yeah.
So, we'll continue watching, and, you know, we just want the best, you know, for that program.
Sure, absolutely.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for me?
No, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
I don't feel like we need to go into closed session, but. if you
I don't
want to-
feel we need to go
Is
into
there
closed
anything
session.
we're
Pretty
ready to
much.
discuss right now?
Are we going to talk about the different options, or don't we even need to do that at this
I don't
point?
think we need to at this point. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll continue to talk to the school district and see what different funding options there are, and if we have to look at Model 2 or Model 3, that's all I want.
Yeah.
And we'll get to weigh in before we make any decisions on
Yes, that's
that.
correct.
And looking at all the possible consequences of the different things.
All right. Do you need a motion from us for these wages and that then?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think a motion to, I think I had this typed out a while ago, but I did not bring it. But I think just a motion to increase the salary for the teachers to the
I got it.
41,000. And then,
Okay,
For the
I'd like to make a motion to increase the salary, annual salary for the teachers at the Oak Learning Center to $41,486, and to increase the hourly wage of the naturalists to $18.53.
I'll second that.
I have a second, so a motion by Alder Dorf, second by Alder LaFave. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. All right, go on to informational. Does anyone have any questions on the report of routine personnel actions for regular employees? All right, and our next meeting date is September 10th, 2019. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Today?
Wait, today
Oh,
is.
no, sorry.
Today.
Yeah, that's not
This
accurate.
will be the 24th.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
September 24th,
That's
2019.
what I.
Be there, beware.
Change or something, because I looked at my stuff
All right,
2 days ago.
It says it.
I'll
It
entertain
says
a
it.
motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Second.
All right, I've got a tie. I'm going to pick
Whoever
Alder
you
Quantistax
want.
on the tie. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye, and that passes. We are adjourned.